So we have already finished the reading, the listening and the speaking session of IELTS, and now we move on to the writing session, which in my opinion is the toughest. And I've been always told that many people actually get stuck between 6 and 6.5 and they're not able to make it towards the 7 mark. Now, one thing about writing which I noticed on both the occasions I appeared for my IELTS exam is that writing is more of a template. It's not about how many words you can fill in. It should never go below the word limit allowed, but it's not about the more you write or more linking words you use, more descriptive words you use. It's not like that, right? So the major important thing is, are we actually giving out the information completely and cohesively that is mentioned in the question? That is what they want to know. That is what they want to find out. And that is your task, to actually give out the information which is written in the question, and that is it. And it's more of a template, it's more of a format, and you have to fill in into each format. Every paragraph has its own format and you have to go and fill in the information as per the paragraph. Now, as we look through the video, I'll give you the top tips which are required to secure a band 7+ in IELTS writing. But please make sure that it's all about a template and you just have to fill it in. That's what more it is. It's not about how you write, it's about what you write where. Yeah. So let's have a look at our first slide. So in this now we are going to look at how to write the top tips that will guarantee you a band 7 score in the writing session. Now before we move on to that, let's have a look as to what is expected from us during the IELTS writing session. For this exam, for the writing part of the IELTS exam, you'll get 1 hour in which you have to finish task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is more about descriptive writing. So you have to describe a graph or a diagram or anything that is, or a flow chart, anything that is in the question. You just have to describe it into your own words, and it should be more than 150 words. Now, one major thing to note in IELTS writing session is that please do not write a descriptive essay or the task 2 essay less than the words required. So in task 1 you need more than 150 words. In task 2 you need more than 250 words. I would say the optimum number of words for task 1 is around 160 to 180 would be a best suited for that. And in the task 2, I think it's better to be between 260 and 280. Please do not write a lot. Do not keep on filling in the sheets, and do not write less. If you do write less than 10 words, if then 250 or 150 words, that automatically reduces your mark to get a 7, right? You'll maximum get a 6.5. That is if your essay is good, or you'll get a 6 or a 5.5, which will be not what you're aiming for. So if you're aiming for a 7, the first point to keep in mind is the word limit should match the amount of words asked in the question. Now there's one easy trick that I use during my writing session is that count the number of words that you use in one line, that you put in one line, and then count the number of lines. So for example, if you're using like say 10 words in one line, then going by that method you should fill in at least 26 to 28 lines. Right, it can vary from one line to other, but the average will remain 10 words, so you should be able to fill in 26 to 28 lines. Same goes for the task 1. If you're writing 10 words in one line, you should be able to fill in 16 to 18 lines, right? So the word limit is the first biggest important thing, that please do not miss out on that. Now let's look at the task writing 1, right? So as I said, task 1 is more about descriptive writing, and task 2 is more about the opinion, or they're asking for causes or management of something that happens in task 2. If you're dividing your time, task 1 should take no more than 25 minutes. Around 20 to 25 minutes is the best time to finish your task writing 1, because it's smaller and it's a bit simpler as compared to the task writing 2. Task 2, you'll take at least 5 minutes to plan before you move on to actually writing an essay, which takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. So I would say keep 35 to 40 minutes for task 2 itself. For task 1, what I basically followed is this template, and I used it in both my IELTS sessions, and my friends used it at the same time as well, and we all managed to get 7+ score. We are not native English speakers, we just used the template and we used it in our exams, and all of us got a 7, and few of us also got 7.5. So I would say this template is a guarantee to get a 7+ score, provided if you can fill in the information as per this order. The task 1 has to be divided into four paragraphs. The first one is introduction, then you write about the overview, then you describe what is written in the graph or what is in the question, and then you again describe what is written in the question. One thing to please keep in mind, do not give your opinion in task 1. That is a complete no. That will definitely cost you your band score. Do not give opinion in task 1 and do not write any conclusion. So the words we use to conclude and then we give a final summary, please do not do that. It's not an opinion based task. It's about describing the picture or the question. Please do not write your opinion in task 1. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is the question that I've brought. This is the question that I found it on the internet, and I think it's pretty simple to explain. That's why I chose this question. Now, this is how the question is going to be in task writing 1. The table shows the estimated oil capacity of 6 countries in millions of barrels per day from 1990 to 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So it's all there. It's all there. As you can see in the question, the information is all there. In the first paragraph, which is the introduction, you are just going to use the first 2 lines of the question and you're going to use them, paraphrase it, and put them in the answer itself. Right. To explain it better, I've used my next slide in which these are the 3 things you definitely have to write in your question, in your answer, sorry. Because the thing is that the ones who are grading your exam, the ones who are marking your exam, you have to think, what if they don't have the question itself? They're just looking at your answer and they do not have the question. So the answer, the essay, the paragraphs that you write must be self-explanatory, for the question itself. So what you are writing should explain A to Z fact about the question. First paragraph should be no more than 2 to 3 sentences, no more than 20-25 words, and these are the 3 main things that it should contain. What the graph shows, that's the first point. So the graph could be a line graph, it could be a pie chart, it could be a bar graph as it was in our question, it could be a picture. The first sentence should always be this line graph or this pie chart or this bar graph illustrates or shows or depicts or demonstrates. These are the few words that you can use in your answer, right? So I've just described 4 words for you that you can easily use in your answer, and then you can focus on what the question is asking in the time frame. Now, as you can see, it said between 1990 to 2000. That is the time frame we're talking about. So what the graph is showing, what type of graph it is, during what time, and what is the unit. It says million per barrel. Now, in the next slide, it will explain better. The bar chart illustrates, as I used, there are 4 different words that you can use. You can use demonstrates, depicts, shows. There's so many other words you can use. The estimated amount of oil produced in 6 countries. Now over here, just to increase the amount of words, you can actually write the name of all 6 countries in the bracket. So you can write about UAE, Oman. You can write all about in the bracket between 1990 and 2010. Now in the question, if you could see, it says from 1990 to 2010. So as I said, paraphrasing is extremely important when it comes to the writing task of the IELTS. So as you said, we changed from 1990 to 2010, we changed between 1990 to 2010. You can also write from the year 1990 to 2010. Everything works, you just have to paraphrase. Please do not copy paste the same question into your answer, because that will show that you do not have a command over your language. You do not know how to introduce new words in the essay, and you will be marked down for it. And in the first couple of minutes, you will lose the dream of getting a 7+ band score in IELTS. Please do paraphrase. That is the most important thing. Please do paraphrase. So as I mentioned, in millions of barrels per day. Now, as you can see, that is the unit. The 3 things that are most important is what the graph is showing right here, the time frame it's showing, and measured in millions of barrels per day. Right. So these are the 3 things. It won't take more than 20-25 words, 3 sentences. You have to show what the graph shows, the time frame, and the units involved, right? So there goes your introduction. You are done with the first paragraph. Now you have to move on to the second one. Right, overview. This paragraph is your make or break. This is the most important paragraph when it comes to IELTS task 1, writing task 1. Giving an overview is very important, and it's as important as giving. Now in task 2, it's a conclusion that we give. Our fourth para is the conclusion. In task 1, the second para is the overview. Please do keep this in mind. These two things are very important in their respective tasks. So whenever we look at the task 1 writing, we'll start with the word overall. The second paragraph will always start with the word overall. Overall, comma. It should only contain general information, no numbers, percentages, or dates. Now this is a very important thing because the numbers, percentages, or dates, or all the information about the graph will go in your third and your fourth paragraph, but it will never come in your second paragraph. The second paragraph is your make or break, as I said, and it's an overview in which you just describe the main prominent features of the graph. As you can see here, this is our graph in the top left corner of your screen. Overview, the word starts with overall, that's the most important thing. Oil production capacity tended to increase during the 20-year period. The figures for Saudi Arabia were significantly higher than in the other countries, while the production was lowest in Qatar. Now, as you can look at the graph, as you can see through the graph, all these four countries look similar. They're all similar, besides two. Qatar, in which you can see there is extremely low production of oil, and Saudi Arabia, where there's it's on the other end. It's extremely high amount of production of oil. So you can see when you look at the graph, you know that only these two are the figures that are standing out as compared to the rest of the graph. So this is what you have to write in your overview. In the overview, always the prominent feature, you'll talk about the prominent feature. You will not talk about the amount, you won't talk about the number, any data, any percentage, but you will write about whatever is prominent, whatever stands out in the graph itself. So as you can see, there was an example with Saudi Arabia and Qatar. That's the only thing you have to write in this essay, in the task 2. Sorry, in the paragraph 2 of task 1. Now we move on to the description. So we are done with introduction. We gave a general introduction with keeping those three things in mind. Now we move on to the paragraph 2, which is just overall, giving a brief overview of what we are seeing in a graph.